Welcome to an hour of HealthMade Radio. HealthMade is a community for natural health seekers where we educate people about common health conditions and share extensive research on the most effective natural health treatments and promote legislation that protects our health freedoms. A core concept belief is in the innate intelligence and healing power of the body, and if properly supported spiritually, emotionally, and nutritionally, it can find its way back to health. HealthMade Radio will bring information from integrative health experts throughout the world. Check us out at healthmade.co. Health is what you make it. I'm Dr. Michael Karlfeldt, and I will be your host. Today's guest is Alexis Brink. Alexis Brink is the author of The Art of Shin and the president of Shin Institute in New York City. A practitioner of the art of Shin since 1991, Alexis is a licensed massage therapist and interfaith minister and has taught self-help classes and workshops in New York City as well as in different countries for many years. She's taught Shin in hospitals to nurses and to teachers and their students in the public school system. Today, Shin Institute, under Alexis' guidance, is offering a comprehensive curriculum to a new generation of practitioners and teachers. And I just wanted to, before we even start, it's a little quote here from Deepak Chopra about his impression of Alexis Brink. Having watched Alexis interact with clients from a diversity of backgrounds over the 3 decades we have known each other, I've always been impressed by her gentle confidence and natural inquisitiveness. A true healer who knows and implements both the science and art of medicine, she has always impressed me by her desire to break new boundaries and think beyond ordinary paradigms. And also he said, once in a while you come across a person who demonstrates a potential to be extraordinary, and that is Alexis Brink. Those are pretty powerful words.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, it's nice to hear his words.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I have to be honest, I've been in this field for over 30 years, and I mean, obviously I know acupuncture, acupressure, Chinese, Ayurvedic, reflexology, Reiki, Qigong, Tai Chi. I know a lot of things, but for some reason, I was not familiar with the Shin. Why is that?
Yes. Well, that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book, because I really think that it should be on the map like all these other modalities are, because it's so effective and it's just very little known. And I think it is because initially they wanted to keep it very, really the integrity of the work. But I feel that it's not spreading enough, and it's important to bring it to new generations. So I made this very accessible guide so that anybody can pick it up, from young to old and in every kind of work, and it should really be a household name. So I am here to do that.
Great, because it looks very, looking through the book, reading through the book, it looks very user-friendly, and it looks like you can learn it on many different levels, where you can do it just to work on yourself, on your family, but then also if you want to become more advanced, to become a practitioner, there's that availability as well.
Yeah, that's very true. So for me, I found Shin. It's called Shin Jitsu. Jitsu means art, and so I've called the book The Art of Shin. So first of all, that was a thing, because the name Shin Jitsu is hard for people to remember, and it reminds them of a martial art. So The Art of Shin, and as you call it, Shin, it's easier for people to remember. So I came to it when I was in my early 20s, and when I first found it, I decided that this is what I wanted to do the rest of my life. So here I am 30 years later, and still studying and learning and growing. And at the same time, you're right, it's as simple as holding fingers to harmonize the energy in the body, and simple holds. So yes, you can take it on all different levels.
So because I'm sure that you're aware of all these other techniques that are available. I mean, what What was it so special about Yin Shin that you thought that this is it for me? And you actually gave up a very promising career for this specific reason, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was a dancer, and then when I found this, I mean, the thing that drew me to it was really the philosophy. And when I first took a workshop, I felt connected to something that was bigger than myself, which I suppose is called universal energy or consciousness, as Deepak calls it. And that is the thing that drew me to it. And so the philosophy is very important. However, again, you can just also use it as simply harmonizing the emotions and getting into the breath and using it very, very simply. But the philosophy really, in the East, it comes from Japan. And this is very similar to acupuncture, but instead of needles, we use our hands. So that makes it in and of itself very accessible because we can just place our hands on certain areas in the body and begin to harmonize the energy in the body so that the free flow of energy can begin and the body can restore itself and health can restore itself.
So with Yin Shin, what is the kind of it's a movement of energy then? Is that the philosophy behind it? Is that the
Yes, it's very simple. It really has to do with the exhale, and that allows the energy to flow down the front of the body, and then the inhale that allows the energy to flow up the back of the body. So we have this constant oval of energy going on. And so that is the first most accessible way to begin the healing process. And then we're using 26 locations on the body, 26 on the right side and 26 on the left side of the body. And when all those 26 safety energy locations are open, there is harmony in the body. So when people come to me with symptoms, I listen to the pulse in the wrist, the organ functions like they do in traditional Oriental medicine, and I read the body, seeing how it lies on the table. Is a shoulder up? Is a leg rolling out? And then I also listen to what people say, and I put the whole picture together of what's going on. So, in effect, we really don't just treat the symptom. We go to the cause. Like, why is it there? And that can be related to some older events that went on in the person's life, or just simply life-related stresses today.
And so what kind of ailments or what is Yin Shin used for? I mean, when can you apply Yin Shin? Is it just to kind of feel more relaxed or can you use it for something as severe as cancer?
Yes, you can. I mean, the thing is, whatever we accumulate, we can always also break down. And as you mentioned, Deepak, before, he talks a lot about that in the quantum physics area where, we have the body that's matter. And then when we go a level of lesser density, you go into cells and molecules and less density. And so then you get into pure energy. And so when the energy starts to flow, the body can heal itself. So, yes, I work with people with cancer, for example, it's very effective when people get cancer treatment and to keep their immune system up, to keep their blood levels up, to make them feel better. And it's also very empowering to the person that they can do something themselves to make them feel better.
Yeah, so and that's what really struck me is that when a patient comes to you or a patient comes to a Yin Shin practitioner is that they receive the treatment and then they're given instructions as to how to treat themselves or having a spouse or parent or family member do the treatment in between treatments to reinforce what it is that's being done.
Yes, really a very important part is the self-help, because people come to me, let's say, once a week or every 2 weeks, and then in between they can work on themselves every day for maintenance, and that's really important to keep the energies flowing. And I would say also to break down a symptom. It's like peeling an onion. It's like layer after layer, and it takes it takes a little bit of time and practice before you get what we call a Jinshin body, and it feels really open and everything is flowing. And but I must say that even after one session, usually people get great relief from symptoms.
Wonderful. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Health Made Radio. I'm Dr. Michael Karlfeldt, and I'm here with Alexis Brink. She is the author of The Art of Shin. Welcome back to Health Made Radio. I'm Dr. Michael Karlfeldt. I'm here with Alexis Brink, and we're discussing the ancient art of Shin, which is a Japanese healing technique. So how did Shin start? What prompted it to become?
Mm-hmm. Well, as you say, it came from Japan, and there was this young man by the name of Jiro Murai, and he came from a long line of medical professionals himself. And when he became terminally ill, his family couldn't help him, and he had read some things that people were healing themselves through meditation and fasting and holding certain hand mudras, which are they are positions where you hold certain fingers. And so when he was that sick, he asked if his family could take him up to the mountain cabin, and there he meditated and fasted and practiced these hand mudras for 7 days. And after that, he was healed. So to the surprise of his family, because they were medical doctors, and at that point he decided to devote the rest of his life what he later named Jinshin Jitsu. So he studied a lot of the ancient traditions. First of all, he studied the Kojiki records of ancient things, which is like the Bible in Japan. And then he also had access to ancient records at the Imperial Palace, and at certain shrines he did a lot of research. He also, for example, he fasted for weeks at a time, and then he would see how the energy would flow in his body. So the flow patterns that he came up with are very similar to meridians, because it all comes from the same traditions, but they are slightly different. And he then went around Japan treating people and putting this system together. And so that's how it came to be. So it really did come from the same ancient traditions and the same traditional Oriental medicine. And he just did his own research and created his own system.
So with this, earlier you mentioned like the breath, is very important, inhalation, exhalation, and how the energy moves with that. And I know there are other traditions where you do different types of breaths, and that impacts the body in different ways. Is it similar within Jinshin, that controlling your breath in different ways, or how's the breath used?
Well, that's interesting, because the breath is really used going into the autonomic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system, where it is this deep belly breathing, and this is really where healing takes place. So sometimes when I place my hands on people and I don't feel the energy moving, I just simply ask people to bring awareness to their breath, and then the energy starts to move. So we don't have a specific system other than being aware of the energy flowing down the front of the body, the exhale to the big toes and then up the back. And so there's always this cycle of exhaling and inhaling going on. Sometimes people don't have this, what we call the big breath into their body. And as you start to practice Jinshin, that is just going to happen. Then the breath gets into the body, and you become a breath, because it's really natural. If you watch a baby breathe, you see the belly go up and down, and this is the kind of breath that we're looking for. And it's really because of our lifestyle that we forget to breathe, and we stop taking these big breaths. So I've read in some of your material that you talk about our innate wisdom, and that's very much a part of Jinshin as well, where, you hold certain points on your body, or you hold a certain finger, or you see a baby sucking their thumb, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, that's our natural way of helping ourselves. So Jinshin, the art of Jinshin, just brings awareness to that.
Yeah, it was interesting as I was looking through some of the holds, one when you're wanting to calm the nervous system or soothe the nervous system, or with fear or anger or whatever it may be. It was interesting to see how I use those holds then naturally, like you're saying, that it's kind of a natural intuition where you're guided towards holding those places or holding those points, and that tends to have that impact.
Yeah, yes. And Mary Burmeister, she was one of Jermarai's students, or one of his two main students, who brought the art to the United States. And she talked about the emotional attitudes that can cause dis-ease or disharmony. And those attitudes are worry, fear, anger, sadness, or trying too hard. And so we can hold a finger to help harmonize those emotional attitudes. And so that is a really simple way to begin healing, to just simply hold the fingers.
So can you go through that for the listeners as to, let's say, for instance, they're dealing with fear. I mean, what should they do, or anger? Do you mind going through those main emotions?
I would love to. So starting with the thumb helps to harmonize worry. And you can just hold your thumb gently. Let's say you take your right hand and you wrap it around your left thumb, and you just hold it gently. And what you feel is will feel a slight pulsation, and the pulsation is the energy beginning to harmonize. So at first it may be hard to feel, or it's really pounding, and you want to just wait and stay with it till it settles down. And the thumb also helps digestion, because it helps the stomach and spleen area.
So does that mean that the worry relates then to stomach and spleen quite a bit?
Yes, and we all know that when people have stomach ulcers, it has a lot to do with worry, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so holding the thumb will help the stomach energy and helps to harmonize worry.
I'm doing that right now to, calm my stomach, get ready for dinner here.
Exactly. I know, that's how it works. So it also, like, if you eat too much and you want to get the digestion process going, you can just hold your thumb as well to help it along. So, and again, this is, babies, they tend to suck their thumb, and they need to get their digestive energy moving. So you see how it helps.
Yeah, so it's almost better than, you have, you give babies pacifiers. It's better for them to actually suck their thumb than to stimulate the digestive.
Yes, it is. And so it's important that we allow for this natural process to happen instead of putting in a pacifier, because they are helping themselves. Oh. That's exactly right. But I just want to move through the fingers.
Yes, let's do it. I'm sorry. I get so fascinated with each finger.
I know. It is fascinating. The index finger helps to harmonize fear, and it helps back aches. And the reason why it helps back aches because it helps the bladder and the kidney energy. So thumb helps stomach and spleen, and then the index finger helps to harmonize fear and the kidney and bladder energy. And the kidney and bladder energy run down the back, and that's why it helps the back. So you just hold the index finger gently. So if you're sitting, for example, at the dentist and you have some fear coming up or some anxiety, you can just hold the index finger And today you hear a lot of people talking about anxiety. And even my college-age son, he said, Mom, my whole generation is like anxiety-ridden. And so he is bringing Jinshin to the college community, the college-age generation, which is so important.
Oh,
so
great.
This index finger is really important.
Yeah, and fear is, I mean, we're impacted by fear in so many different ways. And, so this is an important hold. And it was interesting, I mean, you were talking about that pulsing as I'm holding my index finger. Yeah, I feel that pulsing. So that's not just the pulse within the finger in itself. It's actually more kind of an energy as you're about to harmonize, so to say.
Yes. So you feel this pulsation because when you hold a finger or when you hold any of these locations, the energy spirals all the way to core and back out to surface. And that's why you feel the pulsation change. And that's actually getting in touch with also this universal energy. It brings the body into rhythm with the universal energy. And so ultimately there's really just one nice, even pulse. If there's a whole room of people practicing Jinshin together, in the end there's just one pulse, which is so interesting. I mean, that's where the philosophy comes in, and the spiritual practice of it.
Yeah, that's really amazing. We're just going to take a quick break.
And then we go to the other fingers,
then we're
right?
going to go through, yes, I can't wait.
Okay.
We're listening to Health Made Radio. I'm here with Alexis Brink, and we're going through the fascinating art of Jinshin. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Health Made Radio. I'm Dr. Michael Karlfeldt, and I'm here with Alexis Brink, and we are currently going through the different fingers, different holds as to different emotions that we're experiencing and how you can harmonize yourself in regards to these different emotions and the impact that it has on the body. And we just solved worry and fear, so now I have no worry and I'm fearless. So what is the next finger? What happens there?
So Dr. Karlfeldt, do you think you can guess which emotion is the next finger?
I know it's a finger that a lot of people in LA, when I lived in LA, they used as they were driving. So,
all right.
Yes, I assume it had something to do with my driving.
Yes. So, yes, to harmonize anger, we can hold the middle finger. And this finger also helps the liver and gallbladder energy. So sometimes when people wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, that's the liver energy talking. And so you can simply hold your middle finger to harmonize the liver and gallbladder energy. And also the middle finger helps eyes, because eyes is related to the liver energy. And it also helps deep fatigue in the body. So when you feel very tired or depleted, you can hold the middle finger as well. And then the ring finger is related to sadness and grief. And it helps the lung and large intestine energy. So if you have breathing projects, by the way, we call problems, we turn them into projects because they're fun to work with.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have a lung or large intestine project, you can hold your ring finger. And by the way, people sometimes ask me, do you hold the tip or the whole thing or the base? And you can hold the whole finger. Each part helps a different part of the body, but it's just so easy to hold the whole finger and helping the entire body.
So when you say each part helps a difference, so it's each part of that finger, or is it the whole thing? Okay, so the base impacts different areas of the body versus the tip of the finger.
Yeah, and it's very simple. The tip of the fingers helps the chest line, where the lungs and the heart live, and the middle of the finger helps the waistline, where the liver, gallbladder, stomach, and spleen, and the adrenals live. And then the base helps the hip line, where the reproductive organs live. So
as you're holding the finger, in addition to being targeted on these specific organs and these specific emotions, you're also stimulating the whole body as a whole when you're holding the whole finger.
Yes, yes. And again, that also relates to body, mind, and spirit, where the chest line is related to spirit, the waistline is related to the mind, and the base of the finger helps the physical and the body. So, it's interesting. This is really a lifetime study, but again, it's just as simple as holding a finger. Yeah. Can you see that?
I love it. And so you have people that don't feel grounded. I mean, they're always in their head. So to then kind of hold the bottom of the finger, it would then ground them more?
Yes, it would ground them more. It's the connection to earth, absolutely. So this is, Jinshin, the art of Jinshin it's an art, and it is a skillful creation. And just what you just said now is like the art of it. There's a great, vast technique to it, but it's also an art, and getting to know and help yourself and exploring and finding different holds that work for you and getting to understand your own body and how it relates to the stars and the planets, and that's where it becomes so interesting. And also a lot of people just come with symptoms and they want to just get rid of their symptoms, and that's fine too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's exactly like you were mentioning, and I think it was in your book, about peeling the onion. You can go as deep as you want, or you can just stay surface. But it just seems like every simple, we start with just simple holding the finger, but then you can just expand on each aspect of holding that finger and the different components within that finger, which section that relates to what, and spiritually, emotionally, physically, and then I would assume that has to do with our connection universally as well.
Absolutely. That's where it became so interesting for me personally. Yeah. That's the thing that grabbed me, is the connection to that.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So,
but let's get to the little finger. Very, very important, because it helps the trying too hard or efforting, and it helps the heart and the small intestine. So for anybody that has heart projects, holding the little finger is very, very helpful. And if you do have a heart project, you will find a tight spot in that little finger, so you can definitely go for that. And you can go in a little bit deeper to see where the tightness is, and then just let go and hold it, and again, feel that pulsation. So even in an emergency, if something happened, if you see I've used Jinshin many times in acute situations as well. People fainting on the streets or collapsing at Radio City Music Hall, and I have so many stories where you can just have a simple hold and people will just come back to their unconscious. Those are really the fun things as well.
and I love the piece about your son calling you where his friend had passed out.
Yes.
And he called you. What do I do? So what did you tell him? What did you tell him to do?
Well, my son, of course, grew up with it, but so he called me, and he was in a panic. Mom, what do I do? So I said, okay, because the guy had fainted. He probably had too much to drink or whatever. So I said, okay, just sit with him and hold the back of his head. There's these 2 safety energy locations that will open up the energy flow into the head. And he said, oh, Mom, forget it, the EMS is coming. And I said, no, Tyler, just stay with the guy, sit with him, and hold the back of his head till the EMS, gets him into the ambulance. So a few minutes later, he texted me, and he said, Mom, it worked. And so the guy has come back, and he was fine. And, I mean, these are really fun things. Anybody can do this. That's the thing. Anybody... that's what I would like to see happen, is that it should be on everybody's shelf, this book, because parents can pull down a fever on their child or help their partner with a headache or just simple, daily things, daily symptoms,
and that's
coughs and...
Yeah, that's what's so really neat with your book. I mean, you've gone through all these different symptoms, or these different projects, I should say, like diabetes, and I mean, it's just alphabetically. If you're dealing with cold or constipation, dealing with cholesterol issues, what type of holds to have in order to be able to balance your body in regards to that.
Yeah. Yes. Because it's very simple. Whatever is stuck above the waist, we want to bring the energy down, and whatever is below, we want to bring the energy up. So it's always harmonizing. So if somebody has a headache, you want to hold something below the waist. So you can go to the inside of your knees, or you can hold the big toes to pull the energy down. So the principle is very, very simple.
So, So in regards to then the yin shin, I mean, you have the breathing, then you have the holds. Are there other aspects that are foundational in regards to yin shin?
Yes, let me tell you another interesting one. So the right side of the body has to do with our lifestyle and, for example, dietary habits, what we eat, and weather circumstances, and daily stresses. And the left side of the body has to do more with genetic or older, it could be older trauma or what you come into the world with. And so when somebody comes, and your listeners can look at that, like, are most of my projects on the right side, which then tells you about your lifestyle, or is it more on the left side, which is more genetic or older projects? And that's very interesting way to look at it too. Again, a way to get to know yourself in a different way. Like I treat a lot of people, for example, a client from Google, and she comes in with a very tight right neck, and it just tells me that her daily lifestyle is pretty stressful. And
so with that, and I would assume also if it is something that is genetic, that it can then start to bleed into your lifestyle, so that it becomes on both parts of the body, right?
Yes, because of course it's always a balance between the right and the left side, and that's what we do. It's harmonizing the right and the left side, because we get out of harmony when either the right side or the left side goes faster or slower. And so it is this balance. And so very often I start working with people on the right side to just break down first the lifestyle-related stresses. But then as soon as that is open, we go deeper. And it's, again, like peeling this onion, to go deeper into the left side. Because when there's a lot of projects on the left side, it's a little bit deeper than lifestyle, just because it's older. But since it's energy, you can change everything. I think it's every 7 years that we have a completely new body, and you look at energy. So as it's dancing down, as it manifests.
Yeah, like you're saying, I mean, when you break down matter, at the bottom of it, you have just energy, just this frequency. And so by shifting then the frequency, you're shifting, obviously, how this energy is manifesting, which will then change organ function, system function, immune system, and so forth over time, as you change then this energetic blueprint or template, through these type of practices.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because you have energy, and then the rest will follow. Yeah. Then you get the energy pathways that like most people know, meridians, and then when those manifest, they become the organ functions. So let's say when I feel that the liver energy needs to be harmonized, there's nothing wrong with the actual organ, but it is the energy that dances down and becomes the organ. So that's why I see a lot of people also that something is wrong with them, but the doctors can't find anything because it's not really manifested yet. I'm working with someone right now, and she's been to every doctor, and they can't find what's wrong with her. And now that her body is getting up to speed, her symptoms are just going away, and she's feeling better. That's nice. So that's in a pure energy level.
Yeah, I'd like to chat a little bit more about that. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Health Made Radio. I'm Dr. Michael Karlfeldt, and I'm here with Alexis Brink. She's the author of The Art of Shin. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Health Made Radio. I am here with Alexis Brink. You're listening to Health Made Radio, and we're talking about how energy impacts then our physiological being, and by correcting that energy, symptoms can then simply fade away. Things that are then physical, headache, we think, well, it's something wrong in the head, or I have a backache and I have a bulging disc, so that's why I have a backache. But then when you're then changing the energy that's driving that disease or driving that project, I'm learning, then you can, it'll be a different outcome. The pain can go away.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful explanation. That's exactly right.
So and what was always fascinating to me is that when as an energy healer, they say, well, like you're mentioning the liver, there's stagnated energy in the liver, and that's why, all these symptoms were appearing. And then they do blood tests, and the doctor says, well, there's nothing wrong with the liver. All the liver enzymes are perfectly fine. So, whoever that other practitioner is, they don't know what they're talking about. And still, when you follow your the philosophy or your train of thought, and treat the liver and work on the liver, they get better.
Mm-hmm. You mean the liver energy then?
The liver energy, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So in traditional Oriental medicine, they call it elements, right? And it's the element of wood, and it's all related. In Jinshin, we call it a depth. A depth is a cycle of energy, and so the liver energy is related to the third depth. And the third depth has, they have attributes, all these different depths. And so they have a color and a taste and a flavor and a direction and then a mineral and a day and a season. And so, and an astrological sign and a planet, and so it becomes very interesting. For example, my sign is an Aries. It's related to second depth, the lung energy, and so you can put a whole picture together. That's why I always ask people for their birthday as well. And so how this would manifest, for example, if a pregnant woman, she has these cravings for sweets, there's something going on in that energy. The sweet is related to the energy of first depth and the stomach and spleen energy. So it needs to be brought up to speed. So I would work with that level of energy of the first depth, the stomach and spleen energy. So it's the body telling us a story. Or if somebody puts a lot of salt on their food, it tells you something about the fourth depth related to fear and the kidney and bladder energy. And the color is blue, and so on. So you can go.
You can just kind of layer upon layer, then knowing that this is my issue. Like you're mentioning the spleen and the stomach, and we've already learned that is the index finger. So if you have sugar cravings, sweet cravings, then you can hold your index finger.
Yeah, or actually, that would be the thumb.
Oh, this would be the thumb. Okay, yes.
Yeah,
yes, thank you.
For worry, stomach and spleen, and the flavor is sweet, and the element is earth. And so all of these, that's why we call them in Jinshin, we call it a depth. It's like a basket. So you put all these attributes in this basket. And then for fear, you have the color blue, and the day is Wednesday, and the flavor is salt, and Mercury is the planet, and Scorpio is the astrological sign. So yes, it's like layer after layer, and you can get into you can go into astrology and numerology. So in this way, again, it's a lifetime study. Or you can just hold your index finger.
Exactly.
It's just as we have time to talk more. I'm going deeper into the material.
So
But
I'm curious.
that's what keeps it exciting.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I mean, my birthday is then June 27th. Yeah, which was not long ago. What can you tell about that birthday? I mean,
June 27th?
Yeah, so it's cancer. What does that tell you?
27 is in numerology. It would be a 9, which number 9 means the end of a cycle, to begin anew. And number 9 is on the bottom of the shoulder blade. And so for self-help, you can hold your elbows. And if you hold your elbows, that's safety energy location number 19. That helps with power and authority and leadership. And it has to do with the waistline. So in that way, we put the whole thing together, as well as looking at your body. Now, one day I'll come and meet you, and
yeah, I'd love to.
we can figure this all out. But yeah,
and then you said June, or so cancer. Which lung or which organ would that be then?
The cancer is. 1 second, my mom is cancer as well. It's spleen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the spleen energy. And the spleen energy is gives energy to all the other organs. And it's a toe flow. It goes up the leg, and it crosses the body to the other side. So if somebody's very tired, then a spleen flow is very helpful. Or if somebody's very depleted, a spleen flow is very helpful.
And you said spleen and stomach was thumb, right?
Yes.
So I should suck my thumb more often.
Yes, you should. Okay. Maybe you did as a child. It would be interesting to find out.
That's fascinating. So
Absolutely.
How can people connect with Jinshin practitioners, and how can people learn more about Jinshin?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have an institute in New York called Jinshin Institute, so it's JINSHIN Institute, and we have classes, and I offer classes by webinar as well. We have one coming up July 14th. There's a 2-hour self-help class, so people can join in by webinar. And a good place to start is to get this book. And there are practitioners all over the world, so they can contact us, and we can move it from there. We can suggest some practitioners, or people can start to take some classes.
Because it seems to me that there's some it's just reading through the book, there's some pretty miraculous results from using these simple techniques. I mean, you've dealt with people with severe things like MS and lupus and different neurological conditions, and seem to have helped them a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. And we don't claim to cure anything, but again, the understanding is that as the energies flow uninterruptedly in the body, that the body can heal itself and get as healthy as it can possibly be. So it is not like some miracle. It is really just what the body is capable of doing.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, our body is the best doctor there is. Yeah, that's the highest intelligence than anyone else out there. Yeah,
because that's what we practice as well.
So when a patient comes to a Jinshin practitioner, what should they expect? I mean, what takes place?
Mm-hmm. When people come here, people lie down on the table, and I place my hands very quickly. I don't really even need to know that much. I scan the body with my hands to find out where the congestions are. I listen to the pulses. I look at the body, and I do it very quickly, like within a minute. I get a total overview of what's going on. It actually begins when they first contact me. I start to get the sense of what's going on, And in that sense, I use my intuition. And then when they come to me, I start to use the technique as well. For example, listening to the pulse. When listening to the pulse, we really listen to the organ functions and listen to the cause of what's going on. So I'm getting all this information, and then I will place my hands on certain parts of the body. So people are fully clothed, and they lie on their they lie on the massage table with a pad on it, so it's very, very comfortable. And the session in and of itself is deeply relaxing. And usually when people get up the first time, they're like, wow, what just happened? This was amazing. I mean, a lot of people, they almost fall asleep, or they're in this state of deep, deep relaxation. And they kind of float out of here. Even in New York, it's like, it's just, it really changes from the moment you walked into the door, because your lifestyle, to when they leave, they're in a completely different place. So the treatment itself is very, very comfortable and relaxing.
Well, and people fly into you to see you from all over the world. I'm just reading one of the testimonials here from like Debbie Gibson, which is one of the singers that I grew up with.
Yes,
yes.
She visits New York, and I see her. But yes, I do have people come in from other places, Singapore and Europe, and they always come to see me.
Yeah, that's
when they're here. Yes.
Well, Alexis, it's been really fun talking to you, and I'm so appreciative of the work that you're doing, and that you're wanting to educate people in regards to what they can do in order to be able to be empowered when they're dealing with any kind of symptom, instead of then immediately going to pharmaceuticals. They recognize that they have that healing power within themselves and how to access it. And your book is really, it's very simple, lots of pictures, and it makes it very easy when you're dealing with any kind of condition to just flip through the book and find the page and then do the hold, and then things will get better.
Yes. Yeah, people can really start to create a daily routine, or again, go to simple self-help. And the most important thing is to have fun with it. And you know how important it is for healing, right?
Absolutely.
It's to have fun and keep smiling.
Yeah, we can't. That is absolutely the best medicine. Yeah, no matter what you do, if you don't have a laughter with it, then it goes slower.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, and that is it for today. You're listening to HealthMade Radio. Remember to check us out at healthmade.co. Health is what you make it.